So, as I say, today we are going to discuss or to share with you about how actually we design a good CV that give us a good chance uh, to go for an interview. So you know that before going for interview for any job, the first impression is your resume or your CV. So if you design your CV in a wrong way, that may cause you that you will not be called for an interview. So what is a CV or a resume? There are a brief summaries of your professional histories that actually highlight your relevant accomplishment, expertise, and other credentials like your skills, capabilities, achievement. So the goal is to impress the hiring managers or the employers so that they want to meet you for an interview. But again, some exceptional CVs where you include a lot of more information than just a work history and your education achievement. So where you need to put maybe your achievement, maybe your skills, your capabilities, your experiences. So that we can say an outstanding resume or CV emphasize the experience actually that you had. Not necessarily that you need to be employed or you must have an experience in working. So you as a fresh graduate, you may have experiences, you know, um, experience in solving problems, in critical thinking, experience in organizing event when you were a student. Those are experiences. So you need to emphasize on that experiences that will be actually the most valuable to the prospective employer. Then, in order to achieve the goal of having an outstanding CV, you have three fundamentals, of resume writing that are required. So, what are they? First thing is you need to start by reviewing the company online news release and websites. Why you do that? Because when you do a research on any company or the company that you want to work for, the information you find in the website of the company or whatever else will tell you about the company culture, their belief, their goals, their placement in the market or in the industry, and even emerging workplace trends that may affect their operations. So actually, you will know exactly what accomplishments, skills, and abilities that you need to highlight in your CV to impress them. So you may learn more about the company wants and needs by simply going to their website or their LinkedIn profile or Facebook profile. You will find a lot of information about that. But why this is important is that because when you know about the culture of the company or the needs of the company, you are going to tailor your CV based on that wants and needs and culture. Later, we go to the next point. Why? Because you need to personalize your CV or customize. Why? If you keep your CV as a generic CV or a general CV, that will not get you a very good result and sometimes get you nowhere. If you still remember, last week we talked about this, the applicant tracking system, the ATS, where he picked up some of the keywords from your CV. So if you don't know about the culture of the company, the belief, what they want, exactly what they are looking for, so you will not be able to identify those keywords and put them in your CV. So your resume should be written with the interview in mind because it is your end goal. So customizing your CV is a must. Therefore, you will be able to put all the required keywords that the ATS system will, catch. So using this keyword from I showed last week from the job posting from those systems like Job Seeker, Indeed, whatever application, then in that way you are going to tweak actually the system, because when the system capture those keywords, it will put you in a high ranking. Managers have thousands of or hundreds of CVs. They don't have, especially the HR, they don't have time to go and read all those resumes. So they will need the help of this ATS system and rank for them. So when you are in the top ranking, you will have a chance, to get an interview. Another thing is that keep it simple and short, because if you put a very complicated CV, the ATS itself may not read your CV and may reject your CV at all. So many professionals agrees that there are no strict guidelines or format to follow, when designing your CV. But however, there is one rule of thumb that to follow is keep it easy to understand and brief. Ideally is 2 to 3 pages, and pack them with relevant information, only relevant information. Do not put something that actually does not add any value, to your CV. It's just waste of space and time for the reviewing committee to review your CV. So you may ask then, what is the best format for my CV? So the resume format relates to the design and the layout of your CV and the layout you are going to choose. That includes the font size, the style, and the margin. Another thing which is important is the sequence of the information that you provide. We always start with the most important information at first. So pick an easy to read typefaces such as Arial, Helvetica, Times New Roman, and Calibri. They are very easy to read them. Usually most in academia, we use Times New Roman and Arial so much. Of course, you can choose any other format. Then a second thing is you need to avoid any complex or cursive font that may be, difficult to read. There are some of the font is like, like a design. So you just avoid that. Make it very simple. So keep your font size between 10 to 12. Use a page margin 1 to 1.5 inches, 2.5 centimeters to 4 centimeters. Stick to single or maximum 1.5 line spacing, and use a strong or slightly bigger font up to 14 point in the headers. When you have a headlines, you make it a bit bigger, and preferably use a bullet point when providing significant information like your talent, achievements, skills, experiences. That will attract the HR or the reviewing committee that going to hire or going to choose a person to be interviewed. So we have three types of CVs. You are going to choose one that fits you. The first one is chronological resume. From the name you will know it is about listing your experiences or your job history in a chronological order. And this is suitable for those with an extensive professional experience. It is the most preferred. So when you have an extensive experience. So the most recent position are displayed first, then coming to the oldest one. So you put the recent experience or professional position, then you go backward. So it is perfect for, as we say, those seeking employment who have an external professional, those who have never been unemployed. Why? Because when we go to a chronological order, when you are not being unemployed, that means when you start your career, always you have a job, that will not show the gap, right? There is no gap between the employment. So that is good. And those who wish to demonstrate a steady advancement in their chosen field, you want to show off your experiences, you know, your long journey of serving companies in different industries, in different sectors. So one, if you are a fresh graduate, do not use that. So it is for those who have extensive profession. Why? Because it has a disadvantage. If say you have a job, then after 1-2 years, you stop working, then you start another job, it will show that gap. And another thing, it does not emphasize too much on your skills and abilities. Even though that has so many advantages like familiar to recruiters, highlight the career advancement, and emphasize on relevant job experience, but it will not emphasize on your skills. Which is, if you don't have that, as I say, a long period of working, it may not show a lot of what you really deserve to be employed. So this is, you know, the slide. You can see, you can have a summary or statement objective. Then you can see you start professional experience with the recent one and go backward. Then you will have education and other relevant skills. Then we have the second one with a functional resume, which we call it skill-based resume, where here actually the emphasis will be more on highlighting your talent and qualification rather than on your previous experience. And this type of CV allows you to hide the fact that you have no background in the field, and it will also hide if you have a gap in employment. It means that you were employed, then after another 1 or 2, 3 years, you were unemployed. So while it can be useful in some circumstances, also it is not the ideal choice in all cases because it gives the impression that you are attempting to hide anything. Some recruiters are put off by functional resume structure. They don't like it. When they see that you have functional resume structure, they put, you know, your CV aside. But it is very ideal for recent graduate, entry-level job seekers, career changes, and for those with a gap in their employment. So it has an advantage, focus on skills and abilities rather than experiences and minimize the work experience. But it has disadvantage like not preferred by recruiters, which is that is really, really not good things, and leave out work experience because you cannot show it there. So here you can see the you have a statement objective here. Then you will have all your skills here. So professional experience you put here, but it's not that really emphasized on it. The last one, which is the most perfect, which is hybrid resume or combination between both. So it will allow you to highlight both your experience and your talent and capabilities and skills. And here it is considered as the best resume format because you would begin with a brief overview of your skills and accomplishment and followed by chronological listing of your employment. So this is ideal for mid-level job seekers with some experience in the field, career changes who need to highlight transferable skills, and people re-entering the workforce. So the disadvantage cannot hide resume gap. One only, that means if you have a gap in your experience, cannot hide it back. It will put an equal emphasis on skills and experience, provide a lot of space for resume keywords, and combine best element of chronological and functional format. So this is the most preferred resume even for the recruiters. So you can see we have both skills and professional experience, so combination. So now the most important question is that how to make my resume stand out, whatever it is online or a physical. Basically now almost of the time we put in online, right? So the first thing is make your format easy to read, as we say, where you need to include a summary statement and do not include a fancy colored font and images. So even one miscalculation in designing your CV may lose you an opportunity for job interview. Put this in your mind. So you need to make sure that you arrange your CV such that crucial information like the summary statement or summary objective and the list of your significant talent, skills, achievement at the beginning. So a decent summary statement is a 2 to 3 sentences paragraph at the start of your resume that describe your overall worth of candidate, as we see here, summary here. So this why, because it will make it easier for the recruiter to instantly understand what you are or what are your capacities, capabilities, and why you are the appropriate match to the position they are offering. So you do not, as I said, include the fancy colored, font and images within your resume for two things, because that may confuse the recruiter and also confuse the ATS or the applicant tracking system. So the second, customize, as I say, because customization, it will allow you to track the ATS by providing the right keyword for each job that you are applying. So you do not just put one CV for all, but each job advertisement, look at the keywords and put them in your CV. But again, you must, of course, you have that skills. You cannot just put keywords that you don't have. For example, if they say they are looking for a Python or someone that has a basic on Python, you don't just go and put it, because if you don't have a basic on Python, when you go to an interview, they will notice that. If you have it, you put it. So what I mean is that by customizing your CV, it will help you to find the correct keyword to put them in your CV. And these keywords, you get them from the ATS or the applicant tracking system. So examining the job description is a good place to start if you are unsure of the kind of words or phrases that to use in your resume. So you examine the job description that post in the online platform, and as I say, customize your CV. Third one, show off your skills. So it is very crucial to highlight any key soft skills or non-technical skills you have in order to support your case for why actually you are the best candidate for the position. And one of the most challenging things to spot in a candidate is their soft skills. This is why the managers actually find it very hard. So when you submit your CV for a position, demonstrating your versatility, creativity, and it will make your CV stand out, will integrate your soft talent into the executive summary, that the top of your CV and the details of each work experience description that emphasize, that period of experience. So this will allow you to demonstrate soft talent through a targeted activities and project. Another thing that you need to put in your mind, that it is not just showing off, but you need to prove it. And we will later discuss about that. So another thing, you need to incorporate numbers whenever you can. And this is what we're talking about, proving the thing. So you focus on any measurable success and quantifiable result when presenting your experience. Means that if you developed something, you have to explain how you develop it and what value added that development. If you're, for example, working with customer service, you show numbers, how many customers you brought to the company, new customers you brought to the company. If you are in academia, you show how many papers you publish in SSCI or on SCI. So you need to bring numbers, quantities that can be measured. So if you have a traveler coming up with quantifiable and measurable accomplishment, to list in your resume, think about, for example, other methods you may quantitatively demonstrate your performance at each previous position. So did you handle orders? How many percentage you are quicker, to handling those orders? So if you may utilize those figures to your advantage when putting your CV, it may give you a higher chance to get the interview or to go for an interview. Second is proofread before mailing your CV. Remember, any resume filled with spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, no matter how little or important they are, it may give a recruiter the incorrect impression about you. So grammar and spelling mistake will simply highlight your lack of attention to details, that you are not serious. You are looking for a job and you keep all these grammars and mistakes. So that means you are not serious, you are lack of details. So before submitting your CV to a recruiter, make sure you have enough time to properly review it and make any required changes. You ask your friend, your co-worker, anyone that have an experience. So again, choose the correct layout, as we say, personal information first, education, experience, achievement, hobbies and interests, and references, especially our references, is a must, because recruiters, they need to go back and maybe contact those people who you are referring to. Another thing is the size. As I say previously, a 2-page CV is sufficient, but sometimes you need to have 3 pages. That when you're talking about industry, right? If you're talking about academia, it's totally different. We have totally different, layout of CVs. For me, as an associate professor, if I want to apply for another university, trust me, my CV will be more than 20 pages, because I need to show the list of my publication, the list of my research grant, the list, we need some other details. But when we talk generally, when we talk about the industry, 2 to 3 pages is more than enough. So I can say that the CV may be submitted for a position, and employer will swiftly look through them to determine which stand out and which applicant appears to be the most suitable for the position. So when you keep it succinct and to the point where it is rich in materials and information, there are, of course, other assumptions may highly, where senior position would call for a more specific, especially in regards to the candidate work history. If someone have 20, 30 years of experience, he need more space, right? So it can go more than that. So there is no exact number of pages. 3 is more enough, but sometimes could be more than that. As I say in my case, if you see my CV, you say, like, why this guy is talking like that? He's asking the CV 3 pages, but his CV is 20 pages. Academia is totally different. So provide a cover letter. Why? Because a powerful cover letter may leave a lasting impression about you. And in the last week, I have advised you to read one book about the cover letter, right? So your CV has constraints, and this is the ideal time to add some personality of your application and share more personal information with a potential employer. You cannot put everything in your CV, but design a CV and complement it with a cover letter. But if you want to put a cover letter, you must make it brief and to the point. Anything longer than that, it is unlikely to be read. So the cover letter should be very short and straight to the point and contain only the information that actually add value to your CV. Otherwise, no need for it. So include in your offer letter something like, thank you for taking the time to examine my CV, and I do hope to get, or I do hope we get to discuss the position in the near future. Something that positive, in sense. And never send your CV without a cover letter if you think that the information provided in the CV is not enough, or you have something that you need to add. Why? Because a cover letter will enable you to personalize your application and give an employer a reason to explore your CV. Before he go to the CV, he read the cover letter. Third one, mind the gap. Do not leave too many questions and answered on your resume. Be honest about your experience. Do not lie. Because nowadays, as I say, employers, they go to your social media profile. They always try to find what are the things need to be discovered about you as a person. So if you lie, they will find that, or they will find out. And also don't undersell yourself. So do not be concerned if your resume has a gap since you have been unemployed for a while. So do not lie and say that I was working, but actually you are not working. Why? Because by emphasizing the skills and the talent you learned during that period where you're not, for example, you are working, it may be a plus. For example, during that COVID, most of us, we stay at home. What you are doing, some of you, maybe they were learning new things. Just now, Dr. was explaining, the first speaker, how he developed himself and how he learned. So don't shy. If you have not been employed for 1 or 2 years, take that opportunity and show the employer actually what skills you learned during that period. You may take a courses, learn new skills. So you emphasize the skills and the talent you learn over that period, and this is you will fill the gap. So if you travel, for example, you may have improved your organizational abilities or skills and learn the new languages. You learn new culture. you travel maybe to Japan, then you apply in a Japanese company. They will see that you understand Japanese culture. Maybe they will land you a job. If you were as in a, for example, a paternity or maternity leave, consider how much better you would be as at multitasking, for example, by taking care of the baby and doing other things or solving problems. So do not leave actually too many questions and answer because, oh, I was not employed in that period, I have nothing to do. No, explain, be honest about your experience and do not undersell yourself, as I say, but at the same time, do not rely only on the employer to fill up, the blanks that you put. So make sure that you fill up all the gaps. So the question is, should I add a resume objective or resume statement to my CV or no? So what is the resume objective? It is a brief statement that appears at the top of your resume and inform readers of the main focus. So you describe your professional objective briefly, one phrase or one sentence, and you can provide some context for the experience that you had. So when to use a resume statement? When you make a significant move in your profession. If you change your occupation and don't have much relevant experience or expertise in the new field. So most people agree that a resume objective is a thing of a past. That means we don't need it. But I think that there are circumstances in which you may actually wish to employ resume objectives, such as when you make a significant move in your career, as I explained here. Then you actually show why you are the most suitable candidate for that position. In that statement, you will show off these skills, these abilities. So we can say that the resume objective provide you the chance to go over your CV and respond to any queries before the potential employer need to ask them. So you are putting them at the beginning. And where you're going to include it, as I say, on the top of your resume. So you make sure to place your objective at the top of your resume, and it should be always the first thing a potential employee see. Do not put it at the end or at the middle. The first thing that employees see is your objective or resume objective. But some of professionals, as I say, they say that an object or resume objective is things of the past because they think that it will occupy a space or a very significant space on your resume that may be used to include other qualification or experiences. That's what they say. But for me, actually, it is a chance for you to introduce yourself and to attract the employer, to make him think that, oh, I think this is the right, candidate that I should interview. Another 5 things that you need to consider for resume objective is keep it short. No matter what you do, your top priority is to keep your resume objective statement short, sweet, and to the point. The statement should not be any longer than few lines. You may even be able to write it in even 1 or 2 sentences. Second, keep it relevant. Make sure that your resume objective statement is relevant to the new job and industry. So if you are applying for a teaching job, but primarily have marketing experience, you want to talk about how and why you are planning to make such a big career shift in that objective statement. Third, make sure it adds value. Means that if you are going to include a resume objective statement, make sure that actually it has something to offer and is not just put it there to show off. No, your objective statement should clearly and concisely give context to the rest of your resume that you can otherwise convey on that section. Number 4, make your goal or objective very clear. So your resume already outlined your career history, but what are your career goals? So if you insist on including a resume objective statement at the top of your resume, then this is the place to describe your specific goal or specific objective, where understanding what you are seeking can help the employer better judge whether or not the job is fit for you. And the last, you need to use persuasive language, because your whole resume should be carefully created with a persuasive language. It should speak with conviction. Your objective statement is the first section people will read on your resume. So if you include one, these few lines should be strong. Do not just say that you think you are well fitted for the job, but you need to convince, you need to persuade, you need to show that in quantities and qualities. This is some, for example, an objective statement like general one. I am very motivated, a business school graduate who is looking for a full-time business position in which I can put my knowledge to market into practice. So you see, this is your objective, to have the organization boost productivity and profitability. Another, for example, by job title, I'm an experienced social media manager with an extensive background in the journalism and multimedia communication. So it already shows your vast experience. So what is your objective? Looking for a senior level social media content creation position. So it is very short, but it has a lot of messages to the employer. There is others, I will not go for them. Okay, there are also things that you need to avoid when designing your resume or CV. Let me see the time. I think I'm still on time, maybe 5 or 6 minutes. So you need to avoid technical jargon. Use a clear, straightforward language in your resume, because the recruiter or the hiring manager may not understand technical or industry specific terms, especially if from a HR. So you highlight your essential skills on your resume in a plain English that everyone can understand it. Second, make your content unique. Means that what does this tell the recruiter? Nothing compared to other 99% application that they will receive. They may say the same thing, that you are good in multitasking, but you need to show how you are good in multitasking. So you must put things that make you unique. So in order to say, for example, I work well with others, would be better to write it in, for example, another one. Lead and worked with a team of internal and outside agency professionals to develop an operation plan which decrease expenditure by 20%. Totally different, because you give fact how you work well with others, because you show I work with international, how to develop a plan, a framework that decrease expenditure of the company by 20%. So why? This will tell the recruiters how you work well with others and how your teamwork accomplished the task. So if you say, I work well with others. Everyone can say that. Third, highlight achievement. If you have several impressive achievements, you may want to create a highlighted achievement section with several bullet point items. And to avoid your best achievement from being lost in your resume, create a separate heading that will draw your recruiter attention, to the most unique content. So those some of what we call buzzwords that you need to avoid: energetic, loyal, people person, effective. Every CV you will find this, I think outside of the box, innovative. Everyone could write this. Using these buzzwords in your resume may be a sign that you did not put much thought into what you are writing or you are providing. So here it will be very difficult for a recruiter to pick out the candidate who use these buzzwords on this resume, since thousands of people or hundreds of people, they can write them simply. How they are going to distinguish who are the correct, candidate. So what to do instead? So it is best to let the evidence speak. You provide statistic figures. Make sure you can prove your success by showing numbers. Do not just claim to have been energetic. Demonstrate it, how you have been energetic. Explain it, demonstrate it. You give an example, a real example. Explain how you were creative, what you have created. And you should provide concrete examples of your prior success rather than relying on empty platitudes. Then another business jargon you need to avoid: synergy, passionate, pivot, bottom the line, ecosystem. Your resume should show actually that you have the necessary experience, but you should also presume that the person reviewing it from HR may not have knowledge of that. So if you use this business jargon and acronym in your resume, it may turn off some readers to make your message more difficult to understand. So avoid using them. So what you use, word to use instead: I have achieved this, I have created this, I have developed this, I have established this, I improved that, I increased benefit, profit, I decreased cost, how much? So this is what you need to put in your CV. Again, when designing your CV, you can get some help from the use of Freeline Resume Builder. Canva is one of the best. Of course, there is a paid template laid out. There is a free one. You can choose the free one. You have Zeti, Resume Genius, My Perfect Resume, Indeed, which is the applicant tracking system, same time, creating your CV. Standard Resume, Resume.com, JobScan Resume Builder, Cake Resume, Novo Resume. These all, they provide free versions of some resumes. So for example, this all taken from Canva. They are very simple, and you can see highlighting the most important information, and it's very clear and very nice design. Another set. Are those all I took from the Canva itself, right? So you just click on the format that you would like to use, and you can amend that in the information. You write, replace your name, your education, your contact information, or whatever information that you need to provide. So this is my sharing with you, exactly 45 minutes, because I'm using a timer. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you,
So,
Dr. Ate.
welcome. If you have any question, I'm here.
So now I would like to open the floor to the participants for the Q&A session. Dr. Abdehak, the first question from the participant is, should we post our CV publicly, like making it available for everyone on our LinkedIn page?
Okay, let me see. The first one, should we post our CV publicly, like make it available for everyone on our link? Yeah, I do that. You just search my name, you will find my CV everywhere. That is a good chance for you to be hired, especially in LinkedIn. Put your CV on those the applicant tracking systems also. Most of recruiters also go there. Usually recruiters, they have two things that they do. First, they use the ATS, the applicant tracking system, because that will help them to filter the most fit people for the position. After they get that one,